India's logistics sector is already valued at $250 billion and is gearing up for its next big step. With the national logistic policy paving the way, we're seeing a strong push towards tech adoption, efficiency, and smarter infrastructure, creating a logistics ecosystem that's now more agile, cost-effective, and globally competitive. As the country prepares to reduce the logistic cost and improve connectivity, the opportunities for investment and innovation are growing rapidly. Hello everyone, I am Twinkle Khurmi and I welcome you all to the second episode of Market Mindset with YNS, where we uncover opportunities and explore what lies ahead in industries shaping our future. In today's episode, we're diving into India's logistic landscape, the momentum behind the national logistic policy, and the game-changing shifts it's bringing to businesses and beyond. India's logistics sector is on the cusp of dynamic transformation, fueled by the ambitious national logistic policy and rapid advancements in technology and infrastructure. This shift is unlocking unprecedented opportunities for businesses and investors looking to innovate, scale, and lead in this rapidly evolving market. Today, in this episode of Market Mindset with YNS, we have with us our senior analyst Devesh Chauhan from the Process Excellence team, senior consultant Pooja Bhakar from the Growth Strategy team to unpack the developments and what they mean for this market. Welcome Devesh and Pooja, and thank you for being with us. I'm sure everyone in the business community is eager to understand more about the market. So Devesh, to kick off, why is the national logistic policy particularly relevant for businesses in the current economic and infrastructure landscape that we're seeing in the country? And how do you think NLP is working to remove the long-standing inefficiencies that we've seen in the Indian logistics?
I believe the national logistics policy, it is more relevant now than ever. Reason being, India's logistics cost currently stands at 13 to 14% of its GDP, which is almost double of what the global average is right now. So to be at the same level where our counterparts are right now, that is US and China, NLP is crucial because it integrates every other mode of transport that is there in India. It digitizes key processes like the e-way bill, which as of now handles over 10 million consignments on a monthly basis. It also streamlines regulatory approvals through single window clearances. So I believe that all these efforts, they reduce delays, they improve coordination, and they can cut the transit times by 20 to 25%. Which will result in a lower cost and a boost in India's supply chain efficiency. So I believe by addressing these bottlenecks systematically and by digitizing the key processes, the NLP is transforming India's logistics into a globally competitive ecosystem, which is crucial for our country's growth momentum.
That's a great overview over NLP's strategic approach. Pooja, from a ground level insights, what government initiatives have we observed that are already influencing the logistics and the supply chain market of India?
Okay, so what we are observing that the real transformation is happening, and these are not just the policy announcement, but these are the initiatives that are making the real impact on the ground level. Take PM Gati Shakti for instance. So it is not just your another infrastructure plan, it's about connecting the dots where 16 ministries are coming together and focusing on improving the integration and infrastructure connectivity. This is leading to better planning and smoother last mile deliveries. Then the government is also investing in dedicated freight corridors. So this is helping in bringing down the transit times and more predictable delivery schedules, which are very important for the supply chain management planning by the companies. Then we have initiatives like Sagarmala that is focusing on improving the coastal connectivity. And then we have Bharatmala that is helping in boosting the highway connectivity. So when all these initiatives come together, these suddenly improve the access to tier 2 and 3 cities. So what we can say is it's not just a top-down policy announcement, but we are actually seeing the real impact, and the momentum has already taken up and it is going to go to next level from here.
It's really actually encouraging to see these initiatives making a tangible impact on ground for sure. Devesh, based on what we're seeing on ground, how is NLP influencing the warehousing infrastructure and even the last mile delivery models that we see in our country?
The NLP is influencing warehousing and last mile deliveries in a lot of ways. If we first talk about warehousing, so NLP is something which is driving the construction of over 35 multi-modal logistics park near transport hub, cutting the transit and handling times by 20 to 25%. It also supports specialized warehouses like cold chain storage, and we know how vital it is for industries such as pharma and medical. Whereas if you talk about last mile delivery, it is evolving. It is evolving with GPS tracking, with route optimization, and with urban fulfillment centers, enabling deliveries in 24 hours, which initially used to take 2 to 3 days in major metro cities. So what this is doing is improving the overall customer experience, especially in sectors like e-commerce and retail. So I believe with focused investments in warehousing and the smart last mile deliveries, the NLP will not just transform India's logistics, it will redefine the customer experience.
Great insight on that. Pooja, what developments under the NLP are expected to actually uplift the logistics in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities? Because we're seeing a lot of focus on the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And is decentralization actually becoming viable? If it is, how is it becoming viable for these cities?
So what's really interesting to notice that NLP is not just about improving the movement, but it is also creating an impact where the economic activities are happening in the country. So what we are observing is the genuine decentralization of logistics. So tier 2 and 3 cities were traditionally considered to be unattractive because of lack of connectivity as well as digital integration in a coordinated manner. Then, like we have talked before, there is a push for multi-modal logistic parks. So these are integrated parks that are coming up near the economic zones. So these integrate all rail, air and road connectivity and include everything from storage, warehousing at one place. So now tier 2 and 3 cities can now start functioning as the regional logistic hubs, which will also help them in becoming the emerging economic zones in the future. Then there are different initiatives like digitalization through platforms like ULIP. So with digital tools for real-time tracking, document processing, so even a small logistic player from, let's say, cities like Indore or Coimbatore can now plug in to the global supply networks. Then the low logistic cost as well as infrastructure expansion in tier 2 and 3 cities become very important nodes in the supply chain network.
So it's actually being addressed beyond the metros, and we see this shift is towards tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That's great. So while the NLP is ambitious for sure, what opportunities do you think it's going to unlock for investors and businesses amidst the shift in global trade dynamics that we're seeing in terms of the tariff reforms, the China plus one strategy is there, and India's push to becoming a manufacturing and logistics hub?
The NLP presents vast opportunities for investors and businesses who are looking to tap into the country's export and manufacturing ambitions. Because what India is doing right now, it is targeting a $1.4 trillion manufacturing hub by the end of 25 or in the early start of 2026. And it is supported by NLP state facilitation and improved infrastructure upgrades. And with companies now adopting the China plus one strategy, they are looking to some other countries apart from China. And India is a preferred destination. The reason being, with NLP comes in the picture, there will be a reduction in time delays, and there will be our customs will be more streamlined. And also, I believe the investors can tap into the $40 billion in infrastructure projects over the next decade, including ports, cold chain, and tech-enabled platforms.
So there's a bunch of opportunities there for investors and businesses that they need to capitalize on. So the logistic ecosystem as it's evolving under the national logistic policy, which infrastructure or service models do you think are being seen as high potential areas for foreign investment and innovation? And what are you seeing in the market today, as in which segments like the EV-based delivery, smart warehousing, or tech-enabled automation? Which of them do you think are currently attracting a lot of foreign interest in India?
So what interesting trend that we are observing is certain infrastructure segments and service models, like you mentioned, they are becoming ripe for foreign investment in and innovation in India. Like we discussed before, government is supporting the integrated logistic parks like multimodal parks, which is opening up opportunities for big companies which have track record of operating large-scale transport as well as warehousing. And these companies are seeing a lot of opportunities for investment in India. Then India is also focusing on digitalizing the logistics. So there is definitely a need for smart solutions, AI-driven fleet management, and real-time visibility tools. So the companies which have track record of coming up with such solutions will also have a lot of opportunity to invest in India. So there is definitely a push for sustainability as well. Like we all know, India is focusing on net zero carbon emissions to be achieved by 2070. So definitely there is a sustainability angle in our national logistic policy as well. So the companies that deal with clean mobility have a lot of opportunities in the form of investment in EV-based fleets, charging infrastructure, etc.
So it's sounding very promising given the growth trajectory of our country for sure.
Correct.
So we're heading towards the end of this episode, and I want to know the government incentives or regulatory signals that the global players should watch out for when they're entering India's logistic market and this booming and evolving space.
From the incentive point of view, what three things that comes at the top of our mind. First being is the GST simplifications, which can again reduce the transit times by a good amount of percentage. Second would be the India's 100% FDI allowance in logistics under the automated route. Third would be digital platforms such as ULIP, which provides end-to-end visibility across the whole logistics network. And additionally, the Indian government is providing incentives for any investors who are looking to come into India and expand their business. So I believe if a global player, if a foreign investor wants to scale up with India's rapidly expanding logistics market, if they want to seamlessly integrate into India's logistics market, what they have to do is they have to align with digital processes like the ULIP, and they have to leverage the regulatory reforms that are there in India.
Definitely, they need to keep track of all of these initiatives that are they're key to being positioned in the market right now. All right, that brings us to the end of this episode of Market Mindset with YNS. The National Logistics Policy isn't just a reform, it is surely a catalyst for reimagining how businesses and investors need to move, grow, and invest in India. Whether you're a domestic player who's navigating the infrastructure or you're a global brand who's looking into expanding and entry into the Indian market, the landscape is definitely shifting and the opportunities are for sure real. A big thank you to our panelists for sharing their valuable insights today. If this conversation sparked curiosity, there's much more to explore. You can find deeper insights, data-driven trends, and practical perspectives that we've put together in our report covering the National Logistics Policy, which is up on our website www.yamada-spire.com. Until next time, thanks for listening and stay curious about the markets that change our world.